Welcome back, guys, to today's episode. You know what? I just need to start with a bit of a disclosure. Is that the word? That's the word. It's been a while since I've sat down in the podcast chair, and I think I've had to get my head back in the mindset and back in the game because I'm feeling a little bit out of practice. However, if you are listening to this at the time this episode goes live, it is an incredibly special day. And so I wanted to do something to mark this special day. And I feel like I've gone really rogue, mainly because you guys have persuaded me. You've been blowing up the DMs. And so I thought, in order to celebrate 1 whole year of being a wife, which took me quite a long time to wrap my head around, today's episode is not just brought to you by Open Up with a Mirror, but also with Mr. Louis Q Fit. Okay, so before we even delve into the episode, I thought it's actually helpful to tell you why. I don't know if we thought this was a good idea or I thought it was a good idea, but we're here now. Okay, so we're going to roll with it. But I thought actually you guys do ask a lot in the DMs around my relationship, how we met, what works, why do we do our marriage meetings? And so we thought, well, what better way to celebrate our whole entire first year of being married than to actually bring you an episode. But we've actually gone one better. And rather than doing just one episode, we're bringing you 4 in the whole entire season. And the idea is that every single episode has a different theme. So we're going to cover love, dating, marriage, how we do things. And we want to share our thoughts, the things that work for us, the lessons we had to learn the hard way, because I don't know what that dating world in 2024 looks like, but it feels scary and I don't know if I'd be able to do it now. And thankfully, I don't have to. So welcome. Welcome to the first time that we are doing it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Louis Q. It feels like I'm more nervous to talk to my husband than any other guest.
Maybe it's because we talk all the time. So now it's like we're talking like this. It's completely different.
We're talking with lights and camera.
Yeah.
And Laurie.
Shout out, Laurie.
Yeah, which he's had to listen to the banter beforehand. Okay, so I know a story, not a story, a question I get asked all the time is, how did we meet? And I feel like before we even take it back to a story around how we met, dating, all of that stuff, I feel like today's episode, let's celebrate 1 year of being married. Let's take it back to how we planned a wedding, why we planned it in that way, the unconventional things we did, because I think we went really, really rogue on it, and to share and hopefully give some tips to anyone that's going through their own wedding planning process. But it's your first time on the pod. Is it also your first podcast episode ever?
No, I've done one before.
You know what? We had this
conversation on the way here. I've done one before. It's not a very popular one, but I've done one before.
I honestly thought you were having me on.
No, I was being serious. I did one in lockdown.
With who? About what?
It was my mate George. It sounds like I'm lying. It's my mate George. He created a clothing line called Our Culture, and I went on and I did one with Philip. I was the host. Do you remember now?
No, but I know George and I know the clothing line. So
the thing is, I've done one. That's what you need to know.
Fine. Well, okay. Before this, I didn't think you had done one, so I've come up with a quick fire round because I thought you might need warming up.
No, please, yes, please.
Well, by the sounds of it, you're a pro.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not a pro, but I have done a podcast before, but I would like a quick fire round. That sounds good.
All right, quick fire round. This or that. Let's see what you got. Would you opt for a wedding planner or no wedding planner?
No wedding planner.
God, that took you longer to answer than I thought. Yeah, I thought that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was. I was tossing something up, but yeah, go on. Next one.
Okay, I feel like we'll get into it. UK wedding or abroad?
Abroad.
Hell yeah. What's been your best moment in our first year of being married?
That's not this or that.
No, sorry, I went rogue.
Fine. Best moment in the first year, I would say every time we've traveled together, when we kind of like check in, I kind of feel this proud to be like, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. or say like, this is my wife. Certain kind of, when they introduce each other, it feels nice.
Oh my God, I think I'm going to get a bit emotional. That is beautiful. Okay, one thing that surprised you about the wedding?
How much we had to talk about it. That surprised me. I thought making decisions, we could just be like, oh yeah, let's just do that. But we discussed everything, every single detail.
And last one, don't want to save this question. No, let's not save. Let's just go with the flow. What's one piece of advice you think every couple needs to know who's planning their wedding?
I think you need to have a clear idea of what you both would like. And it may be different. So say like one person may want something different. One person might be like, I definitely want a tequila bar. Like, I'm just fixated on that. Just sit down and discuss what's important. And then from there, you can start to kind of not trade, but be like, okay, you know what, for us to have this or because of our budget, we can kind of like chop and change. But initially, just go crazy and just write a list of everything you both in an ideal world would like.
That's actually brilliant advice because
it is. That's why I'm on the podcast.
Wait. You're 5 minutes in, okay? Just
yeah, no, I'm already dropping bars.
Pipe down. I was obsessed with his and hers cocktails. Do you remember?
Yes.
And I was obsessed that the hers. Well, you've got to the point where I'm going to say you don't drink, or you don't really drink. So the concept of it kind of lost its meaning by the time we were planning the wedding. But I was obsessed because I was either going to do a sangria or a daiquiri. But do you remember I wanted the daiquiri with like the ice pole in it?
Yes, yeah.
I just thought it looked so aesthetically.
Which you found on Pinterest. You lived on Pinterest during the planning of the wedding.
Yeah. But to be fair, I think I live on Pinterest full stop. I literally think it's where
I didn't know you still was using it.
Yeah, for everything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like my outfits, anything that I need to bring to life, I mood board it. See, fun fact, even 5 years in and you're still learning about me. Okay, anyway, we just started the conversation. I love this, but I feel like we need some sort of, let's take it back, okay? Because some people are going to be listening to this for the first time. Some people might not even know that you're married.
Yeah, that's true. They might not know.
I think people maybe thought I was in an arranged marriage because there was no trace of you on my online presence. And then we got married and I was like, oh, I guess he deserves a place on the grid now. Oh, that you pulled a really awkward face.
No, it's because you wanted me on your grid. Try it.
I like the way you back yourself. Anyway, let's actually tell a story that people can follow. So over to you, first of all. Why did we plan a wedding, aka 2 weddings, really? Mm-hmm. In under 6 months? Like, do you remember? Because I don't know if we had the same version of this story, actually.
Yeah, I remember. Well, the year before we got married, that's when I proposed.
Yeah.
Because I remember proposing. I'm not good with dates, but I remember proposing and you had an idea of basically getting married within a year.
Yeah, I was a bit obsessed about that, actually.
But where it fell is that we was coming into January, like we had to kind of come into the new year, so we weren't discussing the wedding. And then there was a conversation of, oh damn, like the date's coming back up, like the year's coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does, because you're right, we got engaged the year before in the March.
Yes.
Beautiful story that we can save for another day because I feel like that's a story in itself. But yeah, we got engaged in the March, which would have been March 22. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and do you know what it is? I just never wanted a long engagement. And
that's why I feel like we did it in 6 months.
Yeah, basically, because I feel like a lot was going on in life, like personal life, work life. So that kind of 9 months of that year that we were engaged, I feel like it was actually one of my most fun times with you because we didn't think about a wedding. I remember people kept asking, when do you get married? And I was like, I don't know. I was just happy to be engaged. And it wasn't really, I think this sounds bad when I say this out loud, but like it wasn't something that was my be all and end all in life. So I was like, cool, this is fun. I wasn't like obsessed about being engaged, but then I also didn't want to be a couple that's engaged and like
for a long time.
yeah, and then never gets married.
Well, I'll be honest. From speaking to people as well, I just think it's either one way or the other. I think you either do it within the year or do it within the next 2 years, or you just wait. I just think with getting married, it just depends on what you and your partner want. Because I don't, and that's how I felt about it. I was like, right, we can either just like do it now. Because remember, weddings aren't like cheap. Sometimes it is a bit of budgeting. So if you've got the money and the time and it kind of works to do it within the first year or two, great. But if you actually want to like get a house together, or you really want to have children because of certain things, like you want to have children within the next couple of years, then you can postpone it. 100%. I just think, but that's how, from speaking to other people, that's usually where it ends up. Is either they do it within the first year or two and then it's like kind of done, we've done it out of the way, or they wait until like after they've had kids and they've got a home together. I think either's fine.
You know what? It's actually really, it's a really, really good point that you said it. And also it triggered another memory, because it wasn't only just that I was, a little bit obsessive about being married within that first year. I think I also thought like life would take over, and well, it was two things. I thought life could take over and then we just wouldn't get married and we'd be engaged for ages.
What's wrong with that?
I didn't want the middle ground.
What's wrong with being in the middle? Oh, fine.
Well, it's for me. I'm not saying for anybody else. I'm saying that for me, I didn't want that. I would either like stay as your girlfriend or be your wife. Like I didn't want to indefinitely be your fiance.
My fiance.
Yeah, but like
indefinitely. What's wrong with that?
It's not something I wanted.
Okay.
I feel like you knew that. No.
I think I did. Yeah, but this is the thing. I was happy to be like, all right, let's just get married. Like it didn't. Do you see what I'm saying? So it depends on how people feel about it.
Yeah, you were quite relaxed. And also, though, the other thing that as you were talking that I did remember is I did not want to talk about a wedding for 2 years.
Oh yes, that was another.
That was
point.
like I was like,
that was another.
And I know this is probably
daunting thing of like the wedding still has not happened yet.
Yeah, well, it's funny because in that quick fire round when I said to you,
planner or no planner.
No, not even that. You said, when I said what surprised you, and you said the amount we had to talk about it. And I'm like, but it was only 5 months of our life. Can you imagine doing that for 2? So I know there'll be loads of people listening that are like, no, I'm so pleased I like had 2 years. And honestly, in hindsight, anyone that has longer than a year to plan or a year or longer, I'm here for it. Go do your thing. But I just, in my world, couldn't have thought of having to talk about a wedding for 2 years of my life.
I hear that.
We'd still be talking about it now.
Yes.
Imagine.
No, I don't want to imagine that. But I'm very proud of us for how we did it in 6 months.
Oh, I love that. We're going to delve into that a bit more. I feel like we do need to clarify, why did we have 2 weddings?
So we had 2 weddings because we definitely wanted to get married abroad. And legally, you can't get married in another country unless maybe you're a citizen there. Yeah. Well, it depends. I think in Greece there's some
certain countries
you can and can't. Laurie, you know about that? Greece. Yeah, see? Look at that. Fact check.
Wait.
Under Google.
Wait. How does Laurie know that is my question?
He's on Google, he's there.
Laurie, lucky getting away with it.
Burst of like confidence because I was right about Greece.
I'm not gonna lie, I do feel very much 2 against 1 today, but okay.
Well, it's your podcast, isn't it? So I'm allowed a little backup.
Okay, fair.
So the reason why we did 2 is you do 1 legal in the UK, and then you have that 1 abroad.
How many people? Do you remember how many people we had at our civil in London?
I think it was like 50.
Yeah, it was 50 people.
Yeah, it ended up being larger. Do you want me to say what?
Go for it, yeah.
Because the way we discussed it, and we discussed this at length, because anyone who's been married or is looking to get married will understand one of the greatest difficulties is the guest list, is who's coming and who's not coming. Like you will literally, that's up there, I feel, with one of the things that are so difficult. Who's bringing kids? Are you not bringing kids?
Who are you going to piss off? Who's getting offended?
Yeah.
Who assumed?
People
I had
Oh
so
my-
many people say, I can't wait to come to the wedding. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but we are not that close in my eyes.
But we
Is that bad? That's bad.
we so yeah, we had, what's the questions you've asked me? We had the civil, and the way we split it was family and kind of members we just assumed wouldn't want to travel or wouldn't be able to travel. We'd just group them. So that ended up being direct family, you know, the aunts and uncles a little bit older who may not necessarily want to travel. So we did it. And I thought I was happy with that, doing the civil for like immediate family and anyone over who doesn't like flying. And then the Spain one was like vibes. Anyone who's like ready to come and make a holiday out of it. And that's why.
Yeah, but not any Tom, Dick and Harry,
Not any
like
Tom, no,
our
no.
closest people, no?
But if you had energy, I would have loved you there, yeah.
No. Okay, well, I was going to say, like, looking back, I feel like it evolved when we were
Yeah,
planning.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was an intention to be like, oh, we're going to have 2 weddings.
No.
But definitely that civil was way bigger than we
Yes,
anticipated.
yes.
But I honestly really truly believe that it worked out exactly how it's meant to. And I do think it gave us the luxury of like the civil was such a gorgeous family day. I think most of my friends, most of them understood like it's a no friend thing.
Yeah.
And one of my friends didn't. I know she's going to listen to this episode as well. Other than her, it was like a family thing. And I think it, for me, I can't speak on your behalf, but it really gave me time to actually process the day. But exactly as you said, Spain was party. It was vibes. Okay. You don't look like you want to add anything. So.
I said it all.
You said it all. Okay, fine. You said that you're really proud of us.
Mm.
So when you look back at the way that we handled it together, what surprised you?
I think what surprised me was the amount we had to talk about it, like I said earlier.
Mm.
But it was tough when it came to time dates in terms of suppliers. Some suppliers can't, you know, we can only do this date, or we only have this available for you. So just contacting suppliers, doing it in a second language.
Yeah.
And I think there was moments where I would just be kind of like done with it all, and then you would do more, and then there would be times where you're kind of done, and then I would do more, or we'll just naturally take different we would lead with different things, and sometimes I would reply to emails, you would reply to emails, and the way it almost, some weeks went into a bit of a flow. Fine, I'll pick up where you've left off. That was nice to see us work well in that way.
There's so like many things I want to ask you off the back of it, but I guess on that point, in terms of how we flowed together, and yes, some weeks that was easier than others. And I think now I can definitely look back and be like, it was such an intense period. I think from my part, when I was in it, I was like, yeah, loving the intensity, and work was definitely a lot. And like doing 2 weddings was a lot, but
as well as working at full time.
Yeah, I think as well, both being self-employed and having like 2 businesses to run in our house.
Yeah.
And then the wedding for me felt like another business.
100%. Yeah. We were like our own wedding planners.
Yeah.
And can I say what, or shall I wait to say that?
No, don't wait. We're not here to wait.
When we were in Spain and we met one of the suppliers, at the end of the meeting with the supplier, they said to us, oh, so who's the bride and groom?
Yeah.
So the whole meeting, the way we were talking with her, she thought that we were the wedding planners for another bride and groom.
Yeah.
So I think, again, that's like a testament to like how we approached it. We literally approached it like project managers or like event planners.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even going into my birthday this year, which was like another event, maybe our first event post-wedding, I can't remember now, but you turned around and you were like, I honestly genuinely think we could be event planners because of like how well I think we've now figured out we work together. But I don't think we knew that pre-wedding. Like we have very different working styles.
There was never an opportunity for before the wedding.
Yeah, so I paused, sorry, because I was going to ask you 3 different things, and I was like, oh, I'll take the conversation in so many different ways.
Yeah, let's not do that.
What made you really involved? Because as you said, like, we flowed, you picked things up. Sometimes I'd reply to emails, and I think from a lot of females I hear like, oh, so and so is going to be a guest at his own wedding. Was that what it was like for you? And I was like, oh, in the least non-cocky way, no, like, we did it as a team. But I'm quite a like collaborative worker. Like, I like feeling like a team. That's my love language.
You are. I think you do let me know that my opinion is like matters, or you
I always
are
want
very
it.
interested. You're like, you've got the best ideas, you have the most creative mind,
Yeah.
and you vocalize that to me. So it kind of encourages me to be like, yeah, share it with you, not keep it to myself. Keep the gold to me.
Don't be selfish with that.
No.
I think as well, maybe, I don't know, this is me looking back, to tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think in the beginning, maybe when you say as well about that surprise, you didn't know we were going to have to talk about it as much as we did. I feel like in the beginning it was a bit like, oh, actually there is a lot to do and we need to do this and talk about it. And then I felt like once we were over that hurdle, we then naturally really found the flow. And you're right, actually, because I think I would take a lot of more, I'd say the admin or logistics, like the emails,
right, and
the communication, isn't it?
You know what was so difficult? There was a thread of emails and that's something I put my hands up, like, I could never do
read it,
and it's not my style of working. But we basically had a thread of emails with the venues management.
Yeah.
And it was just this like master doc that we kept going back to. And you basically would always say, right, come on, baby, let's update it. And
it was color coded and everything.
Every time we had to refer to it, I was like, this bloody email thing, like, it's like a document.
Yeah, it was a master doc.
It was like a master doc that had everything in color coded. And anytime we spoke to a new supplier or got a new quote, we'd had to go back and thing. And for me, like, that wasn't my forte.
But also as well, it worked well because, like, I don't mind doing those things.
Yes,
and also
that's a strength for you.
But also, if you look at our jobs, who's the one that's on a laptop for her job?
That's true.
So it's so much easier. I'm already at the laptop. But things that you did, this is like so minor, but I remember it really being helpful. I think I went into like a really busy season of workshops just before. And then I remember, and this is one of those things that you said right at the beginning, like, okay, we never ended up with his and hers cocktails. I mean, a year on, does anyone care? No. Like, who absolutely, like, is so unimportant. But at the time, I really, really cared. But like another example of that is personalised fans. Like, I wouldn't let it go. And I'd ordered them. And then do you remember Etsy cancelled the order?
Yeah, that was weird.
And you were like, babe, it's fine, leave it. And this was like, I honestly think it was like at midnight we were having these conversations. That last month, I don't think we went to bed before 1 a.m. like ever. Yeah, I honestly was like, I'm going to look so horrendous on my wedding day from a lack of sleep. That's what I actually thought. Anyway, and I remember you saying, baby, it's okay. Like, we actually don't need personalised fans. Why don't we just get normal fans? And I was like, nope, we need personalised fans. But my point is...
By the way, last week, I was out with my cousins and they all had the fans. Like, they use it to a year on, they still use them.
Yeah, and then one of your friends, she gave birth and she had it in her baby bag.
Yeah, so it was important.
It was important, but I really remember I was getting really stressed about it and didn't have time to go and find a new supplier. And every supplier was like coming from China, was taking 6 weeks, and we only had 4 weeks to go, I think.
Yeah.
And you literally took it, like, the only reason we have the fans is because you...
London,
yeah, so I think things like that were really supportive and helpful. Well, I really do. I think I've said this to you, but I really wanted to say thank you.
For
being so involved.
Say that again. Guys, I need to get this, recorded. This is the little snippet I'm gonna keep for myself. Say that again.
Stop doing me dirty. Thank you for...
You're loud.
No, behave. Thank you for like the love, the care and the input that you put in. Even if there were like times of frustration, I feel that it really strengthened us. And we learned a lot about each other. Okay, let's talk about the things. Actually, as you were talking about suppliers, I realized there was so many things that we didn't know and I wish we learned sooner, but I feel like let's maybe go into that in a minute. What are the things that we went rogue on or we did different, that were the unconventional things that we did our way. I think there's quite a few things.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't important enough to us,
Yeah.
then we kind of didn't stress over it. And that's very important how I've just said that. You need to think about what actually is important to you. And going back to the point I made about sitting down at the beginning and creating a list of what is important, because maybe for the groom, it might be, you know, a specific DJ, like that's literally going to make me so happy on my wedding day. Then that's going to be up there. It could be something silly, but kind of have that list. And if things like, well, I don't know what we didn't do now.
Well, I was going to say, do you remember
Little traditions? Yeah. Oh, bridesmaids and groomsmen. Do you know that? We didn't have that. And at the end of the day, it wasn't an abroad wedding. We kind of just didn't feel as though it was necessary. Like, to be fair, every guy that was there was my groomsman, really. Like, everyone who was there was so close. I didn't need to kind of signify that they were separate from the rest of the guests. And it wasn't that kind of wedding. It was like everyone sat together. Even when we made the seating plan, we made sure to not have like this one high table with like some of the family that came. We mixed everyone up on purpose because that's who everyone was there. Everyone there was family.
Yeah. Oh, God, you literally articulated that so
This is why I need my own show, my own podcast. Open up with Louis. I'm here to take over.
I cannot believe you sat here and plugged that.
Disbelieve.
I knew you were like, you woke up on the sassy side of bed today. I did feel like you've been sassy all day. I also was going to ask you, do you remember the two things we both agreed on from the get-go that we said were non-negotiables? Music
and food.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know music was top.
Yeah, and food.
Music had to be sick.
Because
food,
well, in the nicest way possible,
I've actually get like proper have enough food.
We'll have enough food and have good food. Yeah. But also we're both African.
Yeah.
And in the least non-shady, disrespectful way, I've been to weddings before. I'm starving.
You don't eat,
I know that's bad
because it's an early wedding and then you wait a while till the evening. But this is just how it goes, isn't it? These are the things that
were important to us. And I think that's my point. As in, yes, your wedding day is about you. So everyone gets to do it on their own. But I do think we were really good with those two non-negotiables. And there were only ever going to be one of two DJs that were going to either your friend or my friend.
Yes. Mr. S, Stefan. I messaged him early. He didn't reply. So you got in contact with a Nana and he absolutely made it memorable.
My friends, because not all my friends know Nana as well. And my friends said, best DJ ever. As in that was one of the best nights they've ever had.
Yeah, it was good.
And I think as well, us entering a different age. I forget you and I. A different era. I mean, a different stage of our lives. We're getting older. Was my point.
I only get younger. I don't know about you. I might be a band.
No, but my point was that it's rare that we go out and dance like we used to.
Yeah.
And I think he encapsulated what was so important to us. And someone else actually said this to me, that the way we chose the music from the time people entered,
from dinner, that was important to us
because we wanted to tell a story.
Yeah.
So
even our music, every music that got played on that wedding day was thought about. Every single song.
Yeah. I feel tell the story then. Do you remember what we? Oh, actually, sorry. I
off track now.
I went off track, didn't I? No, but I was so happy about the song I walked down the aisle to. But I only chose that, on the day?
On the day.
We were between two songs and you were like, Amira, I need the playlist.
But bear in mind, these things get sorted weeks and before or months before, because the venue need to know, whoever's doing the sound need to know. We just had a toss-up between two songs, and then on the day, he was like, I can't decide.
Did you decide for me?
I decided.
Honestly.
You messaged me and was like, pick one.
So what? Oh my God, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, best song, and it holds so many, like it actually means so much to
Now
me,
that song will forever be memorable.
Yeah. And
like even more so.
Yeah, and I didn't want a song that, well, I was going to be bait, wasn't I? I think I was either going to do Alicia Keys, or there were like, before the shortlist, there were songs that were quite obvious. And I was like, oh, I just don't want to do or I was going really rogue with songs that are just not wedding appropriate.
Yeah, it was lucky I was there. Let's just say that. Let's leave it there.
Okay, well, I was going to say, when people walked in, we had a live Spanish guitarist.
Yes, yeah.
And then we did a procession. I think that's a bit formal. But in terms of, you came out with your dad, then your nieces, then my nephews, or vice versa. So everyone had their own soundtrack. So you guys came out to a Ghanaian tune, then my nephews walked out to something, your nieces walked out to something else, and then it was my song. And then we went back to Spanish guitar for like canapé hour. And then Mr. Nana B brought it. We went old school R&B for
like
dinner.
Yeah.
And then it was really lovely, because then by that point people were up and dancing already.
And the sun was setting.
Oh. And then you went rogue. Do you remember you went out that morning? I also remembered about the cake, but before that, do you remember you went out that morning and you were like, babe, I've got sparklers?
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
I thought it would be a good idea.
When are we doing sparklers? And you're like, don't worry, I've got it sorted. And I was like, it's not in the wedding plan. And you're like, yeah, we'll just do it. It'll be a good shot. I'm not sure that it is a good shot, actually.
A good shot, but you got to try these things. You got to try them.
And then, did we go and pick up the wedding cake that morning or the day after? Oh, sorry, the day before.
I think
it's the day before.
The day before.
So I remember everyone arriving.
And do you remember I parked in Spain somewhere I should not have parked, and we went and got the cake. When we came back, the police were there and
ready to take the car.
Ready to take the car.
Not, here's a ticket.
Please no.
Then I did it in my half Spanish, and then the guy
we were purchasing the cake from, like, spoke to them. I was like, look, they're getting married. Like, just let them off.
Yeah, he was so lovely.
Yeah,
but he was willing to assert his power.
He was. He wasn't smiling the whole time.
No, and he definitely could have done us over. So I think someone was smiling on us. There's a lot of things I think we learned along the way. What are the things that you wish we learned sooner?
Nothing. I don't.
Do you not?
No, I feel as though we learned the lessons in the way that we did, because that's how it was
meant to be.
I honestly look back and I think I'm so happy with like how it went. And yes, there's things that I felt like if that got sorted sooner, that would have been better. But the fact that we had to learn is what we just discussed. The part of us, for me, being proud of how we worked together. Have I made sense there?
Yeah, no, you made sense. I think I was thinking as you were talking that I agree with you. There's nothing I would go back and be like, oh, I wish this went differently. And I remember somebody asked this question, but they weren't at the wedding, and they said, did anything go wrong? And I looked at them and I thought, what a question to ask. And then they said, do you wish you did stuff differently? And I was like, no, it was hands down the best 3 days of my life. I wish I could go and relive it. Yeah. I literally wish I could.
I'm saying it was the best because things went wrong the way they did. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. However, I would give advice to people based off of what we learned.
Of course. That's what you always want to do. You always want to like do it better, more efficiently.
Yeah, like budget for lighting. Who knew? You're paying for lighting.
The lighting guy tried it. And remember, he quoted you something higher, and then you went back and was like, oh no, someone's actually quoted me this. And he was like, okay, yeah, sure.
I'm a very good negotiator.
Yeah, saved us like a couple grand on the wedding just from like being...
Yeah, I think I saved more than that, definitely. Like with other suppliers as well. But I'm good at negotiating. And I always say, I learned from my dad on the streets of Egypt. Because you can't be in Egypt and not barter.
Yeah, it's good.
And honestly, I can remember like being in the markets from a really young age and having to barter. And I remember one day actually my dad literally told me to stop talking.
Why?
Because he was like, they're going to hear your British accent and they're going to drive the price up, so stop talking. And I was like, I was so young. But anyway, that's where I learned to negotiate. And yeah, he gave in so easily to the price. I was like, damn it, I could have gone lower. But I got enough. Yeah, the lighting guy. But also you're paying for things that like you're not keeping.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think
that's another thing. You have to be so accepting of it's one day, it's
One day.
24 hours, and you just have to accept it and be like, it's memories forever.
Yeah, I think we got to the point where we actually questioned, do we need lighting?
I questioned, do we need to get married? I said, do we need to get married? I remember I said this to you. Shall we not get married and all the money just go
Yeah, you did.
traveling for like 4 or 5 months?
I think you said
Around the
that
world.
maybe 2 or 3 months
And
out.
you considered it as well. You was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was like, yeah, we could do the most epic trip. And then I was like, no, because people are really important to us. And I think as well, where we've both had 2 businesses over the last couple of years, we've worked so hard. And I was like, I really want to have all of our people and the people that mean something to us. And I do honestly feel like it's a memory for a lifetime.
Yes, I do. Have you finished? Because I'm gonna got
Yeah,
something to say.
please.
I do think the mindset around a wedding needs to be clear, because what you've just said has reminded me that a part of the wedding was bringing our people together. So a part of it is about us and kind of proclaiming our love. But I think when you have a mindset that, you know what, I want to see all my friends and family together, eating a meal, listening to good music, dancing, like I want to put this lovely event on for everyone to come together, then it kind of takes that pressure off of just focusing on what you want, you need, your ideal perfect wedding, and it becomes more about your community and your people. I think that's just nicer, because I've heard some stories where like they get so in their head, they're trying to show themselves off in like the most perfect way, and it's never ending. Someone's always going to top you, and yeah, that's my little thing on it.
No, it's important because our people, I say were, obviously they are still really important, but I think the way we curated the wedding, and I remember
we were thinking about their experience,
Yeah.
as well as art for us.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
was a part of it.
I think as well, a good way of us explaining it is that was a chapter in our story, and we wanted all our important people to be part of that chapter.
Yes.
And not feel like they were spectating it.
Yeah, hell no.
And so, you know, when you said actually we were thinking about, right, how do we want to tell this part of our story, or how do we want people to be involved? Even this might sound minor, but we have a lot of people in our like wedding party that don't drink, and I always feel like they get left with shitty drinks.
Yeah.
So we curated a really lovely like non-alcoholic drink.
Yeah, we went to lengths to get that ginger beer. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I like drinking ginger beer.
Yeah.
And we thought there's a ginger beer we had at the venue when we went to go and check it out.
Yeah.
Within that year before getting married.
And it was local, wasn't it? It was like produced local.
Yeah, it was a local ginger beer, and when it came to the
Wait,
wedding,
also the packaging was like out of this world.
Yeah, it was nice design, but
give me anything aesthetically pleasing and I'm sold.
And then by the time it got to our wedding, it had just like run out of stock. Like it was just, you know, like a craft beer or something. Like it just once it runs out. You might not know that, but
no, I didn't.
They literally went and ordered it for us. They were like, okay, we're gonna get it like special in and for our guests, and people were raving about it. Your dad was like, yeah, this is tasty.
Also, as well, I was thinking some of the other things that like we didn't do. Also, I'm really glad, because I feel like I had to fight for this one, not with us, but definitely to make it happen, was go and grab your dessert.
Oh yeah.
Because it's that fine balance between sitting down too long and then realizing.
Of course, yeah. I think that was a nice touch for basically like dessert. It keeps it easy as well. People can chat a bit more, but like go and grab a dessert, which I thought was really cool. You was like hell bent on churros though, and that kind of escapade for getting this specific churro was quite eventful.
Yeah, it was. There's so many other things as you're talking that I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this and I forgot about that. But we're not going to bring it all to the eps. Okay, 2 things before I let you go. If you had to sum up a 5-step process to anybody that's listening, I mean, it does not have to be 5 steps. You can do.
Come on, man. Yeah.
All right, fine. You're like, don't put it into 5 steps. But can you lay out in a systematic way for anybody that's listening? In the middle of planning their wedding or about to start planning, high level, what's the process to plan your wedding? How do they do it?
I'll try my best.
Okay.
Step one
Yeah.
is what I said earlier. And I think that's the kind of key takeaway from here. Sit down with your partner and just both selfishly write a list of priority. Then come together, share the list. And this is like what's the word?
Non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental. And you're basically just kind of looking, all right, cool. Then have your budget.
Yeah.
Then start to go through, right, what can happen, what, because of budget reasons, we can't have. What can we change slightly? Because what's in your head is just an idea. The reality can always be something different and you could still be as happy with it. But I think one of the most important steps as well is the communication. And sometimes it's not going to be there. Sometimes the communication is going to be good. But you definitely need, a strong foundation, which I feel is kind of the list and the budget.
So you boiled your process down to 2 key steps.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll leave it at 2 steps then.
That's simple.
Last question. Would you do it again?
I wouldn't do the whole wedding again. I would do the kind of food, the partying. I would do an event like that again. I was so nervous for the ceremony. I wouldn't do the ceremony again. I would do everything else after again.
Okay, watch your space then. Renewal 2020 something coming soon.